What's up, guys? Over the wheel here. Today I've got something special for you. We're going to be going to a National Day of Prayer day over here at the park. Which, if you know me, you know I'm agnostic. So that part doesn't interest me really. What does interest me is to see if they respect my First Amendment rights to record and take pictures in public. To see what kind of people, this brings out to pray for our country. I've also got this interesting shirt. You're not going to be able to read this backwards. It says "Save the Planet." It shows a goat tossing in a cross, a religious symbol for Muslims, and a religious symbol for Jewish people, into the trash. Now, I have a good heart, okay? I don't hate these people. I just, I know many Christians that are good people. So, but, in my opinion, and I'm entitled to an opinion, organized religion is the cause of much death in this country. And, it's just grifters taking people's money, people who need their money the most. But that's a personal opinion. However, I just want to see if, these good-hearted people that are coming to pray for our country also have enough in their heart to allow me to practice my First Amendment right. So, should be fun. Let's check it out. Unoccupied chair. Nice. Okay, so what you need to recognize today and think about, because I have no idea how these people are going to react to me. I could get no reaction at all, and that would be a good thing because, again, it's First Amendment right. So, but what I'm saying is, what you need to remember is we are here. This memorial right over here is, those guys died at war, in battle, to give me the right to be able to do what I'm doing here today, to film in public and just express my opinions, my agnostic opinions. Again, it's not an attack on religion. Earlier I mentioned, some of the reasons why organized religion's not for me, and I mentioned war and things like that, and a lot of wars are started over religion, but it's specifically a certain type of religion these days. Evangelicals embracing the rhetoric of hate. It's sad because Jesus was a progressive guy. He wanted to feed the hungry and house the homeless. That's just what he was. He's a religious guy, or he was a progressive guy. And now you're villainized if you want to do those things. You're called a dirty liberal or a pedophile. They just call you names just for no reason. They don't even know you. You know what I mean? So that's it. We'll get off that soapbox and we'll just focus on the First Amendment here. There's some officers right there and some military people. Very nice. So far, nobody's really said anything to me. Now, in the past, I have pulled away from people's faces. Things like that whenever I film. However, today I'm not going to do that because I have every right. I had a rock in my sandal. Okay, let's get a close up right here. Looks like they've got their podium set up. And, they're going to pray for the country today. They're going to pray that things get better in the country. Personally, I'm a fan of actually doing things and not just praying. Because whatever your beliefs are on prayer, I can promise you that action, taking action, concrete action, is a much more viable thing to do. If there's problems out there with our country, address it. I really get tired of seeing a school shooting, mass shooting, like the cops did the other day, or the cops got killed the other day in, where was it at? North Carolina, maybe? I'm not sure. But the cops out there got killed, and the first thing you hear is just thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. And while that may make you feel better as a person, it doesn't really do too much for the problem. You can have every person in the country pray for the problem, but until the problem's addressed, there's going to be more mass shootings. Period. And I'm a pro-gun guy. I got no problem with guns. Just one gun in particular, and we all know what that gun is. So, but they have every right to come out and think that they're doing something, and maybe they are. I don't know. The definition of being an agnostic is you don't know. I have no idea. I admit that I have no idea. I'm not atheist because I think that I honestly think that that there is an afterlife, without a doubt. 100% there's an afterlife of some sort. But I'm also not naive enough to know to think that I know what that is and who our God is, or I don't even like the term God because it to me it's I don't know. I just the word itself. I'd rather flip it around to dog. And that's what I'm. But so people don't understand what an agnostic person is. An agnostic person is a spiritual person who oftentimes does believe that there's an afterlife, but they just will admit they don't know what it is. And I think that's exactly where I fall. I'll know the day that I close my eyes forever. But I can promise you this, I won't be burning in hell just because I'm not a Christian. I can promise you that, because the acts and deeds that I do daily trump what most of these people here do. I'm a good person, and I'm gonna be proud of that, of being a good person, and I'm gonna spout it, because so many people these days, you call yourself a good person? Oh yeah, I do good things. I help the homeless, feed them when I can. Polite to people during the day. I try to bring smiles on people's faces. So, yeah. Take care of dogs. A lot of things I do. But but you're going to tell me that if I don't believe in your religion, I could be the most saintly person on earth, but I'm going to a place where I'm going to burn for eternity? Come on now. Come on. Don't do that. That's ridiculous. And they always make God out to be this angry being, that's going to strike you down and hates gay people, and which, by the way, I don't think that's true either. I think that's picked out of the Bible, and you can interpret things any way you want to. Even if you consider the Bible to be a real text, like from a higher power, it's still very interpreted. Very, very interpreted. So, if you think that being gay is a horrible sin and you're going to burn in hell for that, I think that's sad for you. Some of the best people I've ever met were gay or lesbian. Great people in general, they're persecuted almost every day. So, and it's really bothersome that they're losing their rights more and more because of the drag queen shows and this and that. That whole thing is blown up way up out of proportion. If you really read up on it, number one, it's not happening that often, and number two, when it does happen, it's not what you think is happening. We need to look beyond these outrage stories that we see on the front page and read the full stories, because probably 95% of the time, if you delve deeper into that story, you can see that it was angled to anger you. It's the last thing we need right now is anger in this country. And so far, so good. There's been some police over there that have noticed my camera. Nobody's approached me over here. See, this is an interesting situation, because if I went into a church, if there was a church on a public property, I would definitely probably be approached. But this here is a gathering of strangers, so they don't, necessarily, they can't reach over to the person next to them and say, "Hey, who's that guy over there filming? What's going on over there? Somebody go say something to him." But we'll see. The prayer hasn't started yet. And I will film during the actual prayer. I don't know what to expect here. I don't know. It looks like it's going to be some kind of sermon. Sorry about the wind. It looks like it's going to be some type of sermon, perhaps. But what I pictured in my mind was a bunch of people coming together and just all praying at the same time. And a little bit disappointed it wasn't that. I think that would have been kind of cool to film. I could, if I wanted to, I could even go on the other side of the stage there and film directly at the audience if I wanted to. And who knows, maybe I'll get the courage up to do that. But right now I'm going to leave them alone. Because all this property is public property. It's a public park. So if you came out here not wanting to be filmed, then you better be covered up completely from head to toe. But so far, not too much. I do notice that the crowd is majority older white people, which plays out. That plays. That makes sense. But my question is, if you want to really talk about Christianity and Muslim religion or any religion in general, how, even if one of these gods is the right God, how do you know which God is the right God? How would you what's your proof that your God is the right God? There are over 2,000 gods throughout our history. So how did you come to the point where you, oh yeah, I like this God, this is my God? And I think personally it's probably because, I hate to say it, but you're surrounded by a lot of your people when you go to their services. It's a terrible thing to say, terrible thing to think, but it's true. You know, birds of a feather flock together. That could be one of the reasons. But you know, anytime you want to have a debate with somebody about it, normally they don't want to debate it. And it's not my job to try to change any religious person's mind. You are what you are. You know, I kind of wish that maybe you would, you know, at least expand your mind, open your mind a little bit to other people, atheist, agnostic. And it scares the hell out of people that it scares the hell out of specifically evangelicals that, you know, they see their country becoming darker, different. The last, they just came out with a count recently in some type of poll, and it says that the largest religious group in the U.S. for the first time is a group called the Nuns. That's not N-U-N-S, it's N-O-N-E-S. And that is the majority. I want to say it's like 30-something%. You'd have to break Christianity down into different sects in order to get that number comparatively. But it's 30-something% of Americans, when asked what's your religion, what's your religious preference, or would you care to share with America who, you know, what your religious organization is, 30-something% of Americans said none. So that tells you that, you know, we're kind of, some people would say, it would tell you that it's a degradation of our country, that the country's in trouble. But I would say that it just means that people want to worship in their own way. You know, what's so wrong with that? You know, what's so wrong with being a Christian and worshiping God at your home? And yeah, I mean, someone please explain that to me in the comments, because that's just the way I think it should be. I think people should be able to worship or believe whatever they want to believe. And this group in particular, they think they're under attack constantly, but what they don't understand is that they're not under attack. Okay, people just don't want them to push their beliefs into our government, which they're trying to do left and right. With the abortion ban, what else? Just prayer in school. Want the 10 Commandments on the city property, state property, and things like that. It's not. We weren't founded as a Christian nation. I don't care what anyone says. We were not founded as a Christian nation. All that stuff. There was one coin in the 1800s, right after the Civil War, where they put "In God We Trust" on it, but there was no "In God We Trust" on the money up until the 50s. And what happened in the 50s? Well, in the 50s, we had the Cold War going on. A lot of Americans were scared, and we had the Civil Rights Movement coming up. And that's also when they erected all the statues, all the Confederate statues. You know, these people see these statues and they think, oh, you're tearing down a statue, that's part of history. Well, that was put there in the 50s by a group of people who were scared that their country was turning black. It's nothing about nothing about remembering these guys, paying homage to them, things like that. It's just... Okay, now I'm going to walk around while... I'm going to walk right over here past this cop over here. He looks like he's just chilling. I'm going to shut the camera off and I'll start it right back. There's a few people that have noticed me over here. You know, I really do wish I had the balls enough to go just stand right behind that and film that. But I think my shirt's antagonistic enough, even though it shouldn't be antagonistic. As an American, I have a right to wear whatever I want to. Seats up there in front. Somebody wants to sit in the front.
Thank you. I know there's a lot of places you could have been today, but I know that today's a special day. It's an annual event around here. I know many of you look forward to it. So thank you for taking the time out of your lunchtime to come down here and pray with us, because prayer is important to the city, it's important to the nation. The National Day of Prayer motto this year is lift up the world, light up the world. For thou art my lamp, O Lord, and the Lord will lighten my darkness. In 1990, and when Reagan was president, the Congress designated today as National Day of Prayer. It's actually, believe it or not, today is where the president is required by law to sign a proclamation for praying for our nation, encouraging all Americans to come and pray. This is the first Thursday in May. It is National Day of Prayer. It is not a day where many of you may think that some may view it as tossing a coin in a wishing well. No. It's when we're praying to the Creator. Prayer is still a powerful force. Faith in God is a mighty source of our strength. Our Pledge of Allegiance states that we're one nation under God. Our currency bears the motto, "In God we trust." Not only is it on your currency, it's on your city hall behind the chamber.
In the 50s.
Our morals and values that such faith implies is deeply embedded in our national charter. Let's strengthen our faith in our Creator, who has the power and the might to bless America such as none other. And if you just join me, I'm just going to say a few words of prayer and not give all the privilege of praying to all the pastors. So, Father God, for us in this day of repentance and in prayer,
I'm going to walk over here for a second because he just parroted what I told you guys about country not being founded on religion.
Forgive us for the times when
and I laid out the facts.
That has allowed darkness into this great
I laid out the facts, and one of the first things he said,
to dispel darkness,
one of the first things he
bring
said
light throughout our
was
churches,
repeat that lie.
our families, our schools, our business,
Just a lie.
our military, our government, in our arts, our entertainment, and our media.
I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, though, because for the most part, these guys kept the politics out of it. And, you know, as far as me and organized religion, if you're getting good things from it, you know, and you're not just an asshole to people and think you can go to church and just apologize for it and continue to be an asshole, then I don't really have much of an issue with it. Because whatever gets your moral compass, you know, and pointed in the right direction, where you want to help people and you want us to live in a safer environment and a better environment, and you want to pull people up instead of step on them. You know, if you get that from from organized religion, then that's fine. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. You know, I have a big beef though with when they start bringing politics and things into the church. It really doesn't belong there. Because whoever's in charge, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, because you're the one who you decide how you're going to treat people every day. That's all. That's what it's about. And if going to church makes you a nicer, kinder person, then all for it. All for it. Absolutely all for it. Okay, this guy right here. I'm going to talk to him real quick. He's I mean, it could have just been an act, but I like his brand of preaching. It's very, very inclusive and kind. So, I won't try to antagonize that prayer that they're having there. And I think that, you know, I couldn't have come here and been antagonistic. Now, if they started spouting off everything about politics and things like that, I surely could have. But, and it would have been in my right. This is a public place. I do want to shake his hand. Sir, what's your name? What's your name?
Fred Shackelford.
You know, I appreciate your kind nature.
Oh, well.
I'm an
Jesus, I promise
agnostic.
you that.
I'm an agnostic myself,
Yeah.
and I was just out here doing First Amendment stuff.
Okay, cool.
But
yeah.
you stood out. You've got a kind nature to you,
Oh, well, I appreciate
and
you
it's
saying
inclusive, very
that.
inclusive.
Appreciate you saying that. Yeah.
So yeah, thank you.
Hey, appreciate you and taking a stand for the First Amendment. Got it.
Where?
I pastor at Ellendale Baptist Church.
Okay. Thank you.
Come see us anytime. I'd love to see you.
Thank you, sir.
Fred.
So, the First Amendment stuff.
Yeah, now you got nothing to do. I have to stay.
Nobody said a peep. It's been eye-opening for me in a lot of ways. Maybe it's helped me. And I'll explain why in a minute. Because, you know, I'll explain to you in a minute. But had an effect on me a little bit. If that's the way it could be, then that's the way it should be. You just need to stop with all this political nonsense. It's nonsense, every bit of it. Every bit of it. And actually, I feel a little embarrassed to have this antagonistic shirt on, because in my mind, I pictured something completely different than what actually occurred. So, you know, lesson learned. Lesson learned. I've got a couple of death stares, but, you know, overall, nothing too bad. So that guy was at Ellendale Baptist Church, which is kind of close to my house. He said, I'd like to see you there someday. You know, if I knew 100% that, and maybe his sermons are like that just focus on positivity and not left, right, things like that, left, right. Then who knows? Maybe I'd show up. Maybe I'd go to one of his sermons. Am I going to believe in his God? Probably not. But again, being agnostic means you don't know. So you got the cuss job today, man. Appreciate you. Okay. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. And I'll turn around and we'll talk. I'll actually talk right here, right here in front of these people. So, you know, we're all guilty of watching one-sided things on YouTube, on TV, on the news. You know, we pick what we want to watch. And a lot of times we watch things that we agree with. And because it makes us feel good. It makes us feel like we're not wrong, the other side's wrong. But it's both sides. It's both sides, because I'll be the first to admit to you that I really thought coming up here I would see Trump flags, and I would see people who, you know, yelled at me and saw my shirt and wanted to fight me and things like that. Built it up in my mind. And then I come out here and surprisingly, it was not like that. There were a few moments in there that, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, that's code for this or that's code for that. But not once did I hear the word Trump, which I watch a lot of sermons on TV or on YouTube. And I like this one guy in particular. He's an atheist. And he picks out the pastors, the hellfire brimstone pastors that talk about politics the entire time and gay people and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm a human. So I see that and I think most churches are probably like that. And I'll be the first to tell you that I could be wrong on that. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. So, yeah. And you should never be ashamed to apologize. You know, if you're an adult and you were wrong about something, or I'm not saying I'm completely wrong about it. There's a lot of that goes on. However, I need to, when I see those things and I think, oh, those guys, some of those guys are freaking nuts, I need to step back and realize that they're probably not representing the majority of the churches out there. And I would ask, since I plan to do that as a person, I would ask that the right can do the same thing. You know, can you step back after you see the craziness on TV about the trans athletes and things like that? You'd be surprised on my opinion about that. And realize that the media puts those people on because they know it'll get a reaction, and it's a negative reaction. So that's all.
I saw you around. I just want to say hello and say
Hi.
thank you for coming.
Hi. Hold on. What's your name?
Johnny, yes, sir.
Okay, I appreciate you, man. I was just telling my less than 100 subscribers that this is a First Amendment audit. However, me, myself, I'm not really an organized religion guy.
Yes, sir.
But I will tell you, go ahead.
Thank you,
I
man.
just wanted to hit this.
Thank you, man.
I will tell you, we all need to take a step back sometimes, because I'll watch YouTube videos and I'll see certain types of pastors, you know,
Right.
that delve into politics a lot more than, you know. So I come here thinking it's going to be a big political rally or something, and I was like, okay. And I was not going to, you know, I was going to not try to be antagonistic. I was going to sit back
Yeah.
and watch. and I've actually shook one of the preachers, Ellendale Baptist Church
Fred,
guy.
yep.
He's got a kindness to him that it radiated, and I was
Love
like, you
him.
know what?
That's my friend.
Even being agnostic or even atheist, which I'm not, I'm agnostic. I think there's something out there. I just don't know exactly
Right.
if
I
it's
get
your God or who I consider to be a God or
I
whatever.
get that.
So I apologize to my viewers today for having that opinion when I came up.
I appreciate
You
that.
know what I mean?
What's your name, sir?
My name's William.
William Johnny. It's nice to meet you.
Okay.
Yeah, man, you are welcome. I'm a transformed agnostic.
Okay.
So I grew up almost non-religious, but William, it's just nice to meet you, man. And thank you. Like I think the problem, one of the major problems the church is running into is being too political. And one of my things is always, I don't care who you vote for. I love Jesus. That's
Yeah.
always my heart.
Yeah.
And actually, the mayor goes to my church, so I'm the pastor of Legacy Church.
And you know what? You're the pastor of Legacy?
Yes,
okay.
sir.
And here, another thing is, I talk to my viewers and I tell them, we see the far ends,
Yep.
and we look and we think they're probably all like that.
Yep.
Like people, how they talk about liberals, and I'm more down the middle than I am. I
too.
mean, there's a lot of things that.
I'm in the center, man.
So it's refreshing to see.
I think Jesus would be in the center too.
Yeah, and we need to turn that, turn that megaphone from those far, both sides, man,
Yeah.
both sides, because that's what gets clipped.
That's what divides. And Jesus said that any kingdom divided against itself will not stand. So if we want America to stand, then we've got to come to the middle.
I like Jesus. I think he was a cool guy.
He was great. I've decided he's God.
I appreciate you stepping over and talking to me today.
Well, it's nice
okay?
to meet you,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
God bless. Thank you.
Okay, you too. Y'all need any help with anything, or I can help y'all load out if you need me to. Okay, so right there, very positive interaction with another preacher from another church. Came over, he looked at my shirt, I told him flat out I'm agnostic, and he said he was once agnostic too, but he's more about the teachings of Jesus. And you see things on TV and you think, man, that's so anti-Jesus, because you heard me, I said, hey, Jesus was a cool guy. Everything I've ever read or heard about Jesus was a cool guy, which is why it's so confusing when I see the churches who preach brimstone hellfire or left right. You know what I mean? It's refreshing to know that there are people that it's not what I built up in my mind. And again, he came over and talked to me right when I was talking to you guys about taking a step back. I would ask that Wright do that too, because I see some of the stuff, and it drives me crazy too. On the left too, not just the right. And I know that a lot of people don't use their brain and realize that what they're showing is probably a small segment of the population. In the end, humans are going to be humans, and we're not. We play video games with people killing and but we're not really made to do that, whether you have a God or you don't have a God. I saw a story about the Nazis, and it really kind of made me think about things and put things into perspective. Those guys, they were horrible, horrible, horrible people. They killed millions of people. And what I'm saying right now is it's not to humanize them, but it will humanize them if you really think about it. Many, many, many of those men, when they were at the concentration camps and doing those things, they kept them drunk. They supplied them with drugs, alcohol, and they stayed drunk a lot of the time. And that is because the human nature, we're not meant to kill. Whether you're Christian, agnostic, atheist, Muslim, whatever it is, And you can argue about Muslims and this and that. That's a story for another day. Because you see the videos of the bombings and things like that. But I watch travel videos in a lot of those countries. And the majority of the people in those countries are very, very good, nice people. They take people in right off the street, tourists, into their homes to eat. You know, really cool stuff. So, but about the Nazis, like I said, it made me think about it a little harder. Sure, they were terrible people because they carried out those atrocities. But Hitler realized that they couldn't do that kind of stuff sober. I'm not saying that's 100% accurate, but from the stories I've heard and read, yeah, they had to stay drunk most of the time because of, you know, what they did, what they were told to do. So, again, it's a memorial right here. So, really, what I'm trying to say is we really have to turn off the TV. I mean, you can look at YouTube as entertainment, and you can look at the crazies and scoff at them and make fun of them. But you have to realize that the majority of people are not like those people on both sides. I can almost guarantee you that. So, I've gotten something out of this today. Not gonna lie, I was looking. I was like, I'll go ahead and say it. Talk shit about Biden. And there were a few in there that did. And they have a right as Americans to do that, but I just don't think it belongs in a church. Because in a church, you know, Jesus was like I said earlier, Jesus was a progressive, or if you want to say the nasty term liberal, you know, it was about helping people. So, yeah, it's good to see a little humanity on that side of it, you know, that side. And I'm happy that he found his way, even if it's through Jesus, as long as he can stay centered and not let the megaphone craziness that is going on in our country affect him. What's the term? You kill more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. The churches, and he admitted it, he said that the problems with churches today is that they're too political. You heard a pastor say that. So it's a step in the right direction. But I also threw in there and let him know, hey, I consider myself a liberal all day, progressive. But there's also a lot of things that just don't fly with me. Human beings are complicated. We're not just one thing. You know, we can be several things. And hopefully this YouTube channel, I show that. Just be kind to each other. And we'll wind up being okay. I think I'm going to sign off right there. Thank you for going on that journey with me. Hopefully you learn a little from it. And hopefully my comments make you think and step back when you see all the craziness and realize that's not most people. Okay? Continue to spread positivity and love. Thank you. Like and subscribe. My viewership's going up and I appreciate it. I don't know why. I think it's because of the dogs. Probably not me personally, but get on there, see where we go. And have a great day.